Hey everyone, I'm Patrick Jones, and welcome to episode 70 of That Gives Me Anxiety. I'd like to give a quick shout out to humidity coming back to Charleston. We missed you, but also didn't, you know? I mean, just a part of spring. I'll tell you what else is part of spring: crawfish. Jamie and I love going to crawfish boils in the spring. It's just fun. It's you're eating with your hands. It's casual, and it's delicious. I went to a crawfish boil at a place called Lola's. It's a sort of a Louisiana, New Orleans restaurant. Very casual, but like so good. They cook the potatoes perfectly. That's a big part. I mean, the crawfish was bang on, but the potatoes, next level. Yeah, in April and May, if there's a crawfish boil, you could probably find us there. It's just something we like to do. Don't judge me. Also planted some trees, which is always exciting, right? I mean, I have a giant blister. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. It looks like, you know how there's the saying that people get the wounds of Jesus. I just have a giant blister from a shovel. But yeah, hoping those trees take root and live long and prosper. Yeah, I don't know. What do you say to a tree? And of course, comes with any planting, I threw out my back. Again. If you've been listening to this show, I've complained about the arthritis in my back. Just another round of it. Just not being able to find a spot to sleep where it doesn't hurt. What a tough life I have. What a tough life. I mean, it does suck. I don't know why I'm coming down on myself. Well, anyway, I've got a great episode lined up. This is part 2 about dogs, the fear of dogs, featuring my interview with Stefani Cohen, who's the author of a book about helping kids overcome their fear of dogs. If you didn't listen to part 1, it came out last week, so if you want to listen to the full thing, go back and check that out, and then come right back here and finish it up. But before we get to the interview with Stephanie, I just want to remind you, if you're liking the show, to please remember to rate and review it. You can check the show out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Pure Spectrum CBD. I'm a huge fan of everything that they put together. Their salves, their balms, their moisturizer, their gummies. You could take advantage of the promo code AnxietyPod if you just Google Pure Spectrum and use AnxietyPod at checkout. Also, the link is in the description, so you could just click it there and off you go. And if you're liking the show and you want to support it, you can make a donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is also in the description. So yeah, all good stuff. I think it's time we make our way over to the interview. As always, thank you so much for listening and enjoy. So then beyond this step of the first exposure, I mean, it seems as though it leads to just some more time around dogs at that point, bringing us back to the 10 steps.
Absolutely. So many kids are okay with dogs on a leash.
Mm-hmm.
So we do some sessions with the dog. I apologize. My dog is not happy in her crate.
I can't hear, but
Oh, good. We do the whole session. The dog stays on the leash. In fact, one of the steps is we walk the dog.
mm-hmm.
I hold a leash and the child holds a leash. So I have control of the dog the whole time. So that's just an important aside. So this is actually very important for your listeners to understand. Dogs chase things that move.
Yes.
They're hardwired. They chase balls, they chase squirrels, and they're going to chase children if they're running.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I try to tell kids is, I know it feels really scary, but stand still and be boring. And I also tell kids, cross their arms and turn away. Most dogs will sniff if they do anything and then go find someone more interesting.
Yeah, what else is going on? Yeah.
Exactly right. So that gives kids a plan, right? With anxiety, you need a plan. So the plan is, I'm going to stand still and look away.
That is a good, crossing your arms. That is a good, and turning around is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for some kid, then I give them homework. They go to a friend's house who has a dog where the parent is responsible. And I say, make sure the dog is leashed, meet the dog outside, and kind of do one of the sessions that we've done here, if you can. And they get used to other dogs. I also give them permission to pretty much insist that they not be jumped on. Please don't let your dog jump on me. There's no
Yeah.
reason, right? I don't
Which
want
is
to be
something
jumped
that
on.
I experience, right? Like there are certain kids that will say that before we even get
Oh,
close
that's
to them
great.
when we're walking, and that's great. That tells me the level, like where they're at, so then I could be a better advocate on my end and prevent that from happening, right? And
Yes,
assure
that's
them.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it encourages kids to speak up for themselves, and some
Mhm.
of the skills that they learn by kind of facing this fear, they can transfer to other situations. In fact, I do the opposite. Like I will say before we even start working together, has there been a time when you felt scared, but you did it anyway? And a
Mm.
lot of these kids will say when they finally put their head under the water or
Mhm.
when they went skiing. And I said, well, I want you to channel that feeling because that's how you're going to feel after you pet the dog.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of it's a sense of pride when you know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
you realize things weren't as bad as you thought they would be.
that's right. I actually had a superhero cape made and
Oh.
it says Captain Positive on the back. So I
Oh.
offer the kids if they want to wear the superhero cape. Some do.
Yeah. I
So
don't blame them. That's
yeah.
great.
So
Can we talk? I know you've got a lot on your plate. You've got work, you've got friends, you've got family, pets, you've got the people that you make small talk with at the coffee shop or gym. You've got that bird that you see when you wake up every morning outside your window that you've projected things onto. Look at that bird. Doesn't even love its family, it's always by itself. You do that. Everyone does that. Point is, you've got a lot on your plate. Well, that's why there's Instacart, to take a little bit off your plate. Using Instacart, you search for all your favorite foods and things that you need from the grocery store, all online, all while you're looking at that bird, wondering why it hasn't called its mom. And they deliver it to you. They go to the store and do the shopping for you. And they can deliver it in as fast as an hour. And you can sign up by clicking the link in the description, wherever you're listening or watching. And that's a great way of supporting the show. So it's a great way of supporting this show. It's a great way to make your life a little bit easier because we all know that you have so much going on, like wondering whether that bird judges you back. Going back to what you were talking about, kind of step one is teaching about dogs. Do you teach them? I mean, this may be a little bit too heavy of subject matter, not heavy, just heady rather, to
okay.
teach them about dog psychology, like what dogs are looking for in their interactions, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
because the more kids understand about dogs, I've actually learned a lot in my research for the book. I learned a lot. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, when a dog does that shake, like when they shake off wetness or whatever, it's actually like they're taking a deep breath. They're like resetting.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Yeah. So I've gotten in the habit now when one of my dogs does a shake, I'll say, good shake. And I help the kids see it's like they're resetting. They're like taking a deep breath.
That's interesting. That
So,
makes so much sense too, right? It's raining here, and my dog Ollie came in. It would make sense to come in from the rain and just sort of take a deep breath now that you're under the
that's
roof
right.
again.
That's right. They also do it when they're dry, though. It's not just when they're wet. Watch, I bet Ollie does it more than you think.
He does. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and it is parts where he's like, sort of annoyed with something we've made him do, or like anytime that he does it, resetting is the perfect word. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
So, yeah. So I do try to teach kids I mean, I don't know everything
Mm-hmm.
that you heard, right?
Yeah.
So just to teach them a lot. Like I'll show them when dogs have like an open mouth and they're relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually smiling a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time, and that they should look at the whole dog,
Mm-hmm.
not just the tail, not just the mouth. There are some behaviors that when a dog is doing, like licking its lips or staring, that you do really want to give that dog space.
Yeah. Tell me about the book. What led, what made you want to put things on paper and yeah, I want
So
to hear
what,
about that.
yeah, so what made it's funny because it was actually was published during the pandemic. So I had
Congratulations.
time, thank you. I had time to like really kind of work on it. It's
Mm-hmm.
been in the works for probably 20 years.
Mm.
And I just thought it's now or never. And I thought, I have something here. I kind of wrote the book I wish I had years ago.
Mm.
And some of the feedback I've gotten was from parents, because it's written for parents to help their children, but therapists, dog trainers, anybody could really benefit from it, I think, was that they felt, I think you used the word relieved before, they felt relieved to see that they were not the only ones going through these challenges with their kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and
So
parents tend to beat themselves up a bit when they are going through certain things as if it's a reflection on their parenting, and that's not accurate.
Absolutely. And it really, this particular fear can actually cause a lot of family discord. If grandma has a dog and Benny doesn't want to go visit grandma because of the dog, that starts a whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
I'll share that my grandmother was afraid of cats
hmm,
because a cat jumped up and like surprised her as a little girl, and she didn't do anything with it. And when we would go to a family member's house, like she would be absolutely petrified through her 80s, like that.
wow.
And that's just like I share that as a story to
Yeah,
remind people that these things don't, you can't sweep them under the rug. You
that's right.
have to sort of deal with it and shine a light on it.
Absolutely. And this particular fear generally does not go away on its own.
Right.
It really does. I mean, it could get helped informally by having a friend who's respectful with a dog and you get to see the dog a lot. It doesn't have to necessarily be as formal as the exposure therapy I do, but
Hmm.
it is helpful.
But a little bit of education certainly is always helpful. Yeah.
That's right. And then the last chapter of the book talks about the benefits of the human animal bond and
Mm.
all, which I know I'm preaching to the choir here, all the things you gain from having a relationship with any animal, but especially dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. So is the book more of a like manual to help somebody walk through the steps, or is it stories and insight that you can provide? How does it read?
All of that.
Yeah.
It gives a definition of exposure therapy. It talks about how cynophobia develops. I have a bunch of anecdotes. I have some pictures, and then the protocol that I developed is outlined. There are also 2 chapters on learning on being safe with dogs, learning
Hmm.
to read dog body language. There are many resources out available for that as well. And then the last chapter is the human animal bond. So I tried to get it all in there.
Love it. Love to hear that. Yeah. One of life's mysteries is that birthdays always find me unprepared, catch me unprepared. I don't go on Facebook as much, so I don't notice them as much. But I want to express my love and appreciation for friends and family. That wasn't part of the copy. I'm just saying it. Year after year, month after month. Even when I see it coming, I'm not ready. Am I a jerk? Yes and no. Why do things have to be so black and white for you? But I've got great news, friends. Introducing monthly card subscriptions from the Cardist studio. Join the service that delivers the card and the stamp that you'll need to your door. No more errands. Who wants more errands? I don't know why, but I'm starting to think of errands as a kid's name. Errands, go back to bed. Okay, but here's how it works. You choose your categories, from birthdays and celebrations to love and encouragement, or select their full collections and have those thank you notes and just because cards at the ready. Those ones are always so nice. Like when you get a card for doing something and it's just like a small little heads up or token of appreciation, it genuinely makes you feel really good. And best of all, you would never get caught cardless again. Let me repeat, you'll never get caught cardless again. Try to say that a bunch of times in a row. You'll never get caught cardless again. Monthly card subscriptions from as little as $8 per month for the card and the stamp. Delivered to you. TheCardistStudio.com shop subscriptions. And you can use the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your originating order. You kind of alluded to it, but I'm curious, how often is therapy or intervention in this kind of anxiety successful? And we'll define successful as, people aren't afraid to leave their house, right? I mean, I'm laughing right, just because of how daunting that
right, yeah,
that is.
So my definition of successful is being able to live your life without being petrified all the time. I would love for you to love dogs. I just want you to be able to coexist and go somewhere where your first thought isn't going to be, is there a dog?
Could there be a dog? Yeah.
Could there be a dog there?
You're anxious thinking about, all right, there might be a dog at this store, or I may see one at the farmer's market, right? It's just, you invent it. Right.
And actually something that we didn't talk about was sometimes there's actually a level of shame. Some of these kids are embarrassed and ashamed that they have this fear. So that's when it's really important to address.
Oh yeah, I would imagine, the peers like, what's wrong? Why don't you like dog? Right? We have this like bullying mentality.
That's right.
Towards people who aren't dog people.
Right. And the older the child is, the harder it is.
Yeah.
The best age in my experience is somewhere around 8 or 9 because they're motivated and they're not snarky teenagers yet. But I work with teens too.
Right, of course. Well, yeah, this has been a wonderful conversation. Before we head towards the end here, I'm curious if there's anything you think I'm missing or anything else you'd like to touch on.
No, I think we covered a lot of it. I think you have some great questions. Now I'd like to know how to keep my dog quiet, but other than that.
Well, there's a lot going on. You got a fridge being delivered.
There is. I apologize. You know how that's Murphy's Law, right?
So I don't think we've mentioned the name of the book and where people can get it. And also, I'd love for any social media that you are active on that you'd like to mention as well.
That would be great. So the name of my book, I know there probably won't be pictures, but here it is. Overcoming Your Child's Fear of Dogs.
Oh, look at that cover.
This is a stock photo, by the way.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's cute. It's a step-by-step guide for parents. On Facebook, it's Overcome Fear of Dog. My website is overcomefearofdogs.com. And Instagram is Overcome Fear of Dogs also. Pretty nice. Standard.
Good consistency. I like to see that. Yeah, that's brand building right there.
That's the only way I can remember it.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the new fridge. I just want to reiterate the nervousness when I was reaching out to people to react to the expert clips, right? One of the formats of the show. And just how nervous people were about doing that. Because there's definitely like a stigma associated with being afraid of dogs. I mean, just think about your own reaction, right? If you're not afraid of dogs and you found out that someone's afraid of dogs. What? How could you? It's a similar reaction that, when people say that they don't drink. It's like, just let them not drink. Why are they don't have to drink because you want to drink. Do whatever you want. Let them do whatever they want. mini rant there. So yeah, shout out to Stephanie for helping people and kids overcome that fear, because dogs are so wonderful, and for the most part you don't have to, I mean, you need to know certain rules of the road kind of thing, but you don't have to be afraid of most dogs. So yeah, that's a great way to help people have some fun with those pups. All right, before I get to the weird thing causing me anxiety this week, just want to remind you of the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's just a way to make a donation or a tip to the show. Link is in the description. Description is a word that I struggle with almost weekly. We all have our mountains to climb, right? Then there's the Pure Spectrum CBD company. With the promo code AnxietyPod, gets you 15% off. Then if you want to sign up for home delivery for groceries, you can do that through Instacart, which is also in the link in the description. In the link in the description. Speaking, man, it's not for everybody. But you should be able to do it if you have a podcast. So yeah, you can sign up for home delivery for groceries through Instacart, which I've put the link to do that in the description. Look at me. Then there's the Cardist Studio, who also offer the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your initial order. So yeah, supporting them helps support me and helps me keep making these shows. Okay, weird thing causing me anxiety this week. So there's a big event every year in Charleston. Called the Bridge Run. And it is exactly what it sounds like. And on top of just, it's a 10K, so that's 6 miles. Gonna walk it. Jamie and I are gonna walk it pretty much, right? We kind of just want to be there for the event, right? There's bands playing, city comes out. It's usually beautiful weather this time of year, so there's just a lot to. You just want to be a part of it all, But what's causing me anxiety is it's in this. The starting point is a little bit tricky to get to, because you want to park your car on the Charleston Peninsula, but then you have to get to the other side of the bridge. And so there's ferries and buses, but it's like, I'm anxious about whether or not it's going to be tricky to find them. If we got to get up at like 4:30 to get down there and then try to find this ferry. And so it's just going to be a wild morning, but should be fun. Once we get on the ferry and we get over there, because it stops. Like, it's not like, yeah, there's a chance that you can miss the whole race, but I guess then we'll just have a nice breakfast. Go the other way from athletic endeavors. Well, as always, thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.